I'm surrounded, and somehow I've never felt lonelier. Everything matches my taste, and nothing feels like me. The phone lights up the room like a small, obedient moon. Cold coffee sits in the same ring it left on the desk this morning, a brown halo, proof that time passed without actually moving. My tangled headphones curl beside it, a little knot of plastic nerves. I keep telling people I'm fine. I say it the way you say you love a song you've looped too many times, with that thin smile that's part memory, part muscle. I'm not sure when fine became my favorite lie, but I've been streaming it for months. At 2 a.m., the algorithm still remembers me. It remembers my jokes, my grief, my healing era playlists named like apologies. It remembers which kind of quiet makes me stay. The scroll feels endless, but the world I'm shown is small, like standing in a hallway of mirrors that only reflect one face. Mine, familiar, flattering, exhausting. The headphones slip into my hand, and I tug at the knot. It tightens, as if reminding me. The more you try to manage the loop from inside it, the more it owns your hands. I used to be someone who danced in the kitchen without checks or comments or cameras. That person wrote notes to no one and hid them in books like tiny time capsules. Now the notes are drafts with blinking cursors, and the dancing is a TikTok I didn't post. Somewhere along the way, I traded wonder for recommended. I traded questions for certainty, and certainty for static. When did my curiosity learn to yawn? There's a message I never sent. It's been there for months, typed, edited, reduced, abandoned. Hey, are you still up? The dots appeared, then disappeared, then I went quiet too. I keep telling myself I'm over it. No cap. But the truth is softer and meaner. I'm not haunted by the person. I'm haunted by the version of me who believed conversation could save a night. The headphones ache at my neck. I pull one bud free, then put it back in. I'm ghosted and haunted and pretending it's a vibe. Outside, a siren sighs. Inside, the phone whispers. My feed serves me. People who think like me, hurt like me, caption like me. Fake love. Real feelings, stitched into 1,000 soft confessions. We're all main characters under the same blue light. We film the same cup, the same rain, the same size. It shouldn't be funny, but it is. I'm in a room that keeps telling me I'm unique, and somehow I feel mass-produced. The headphones knot is small enough to solve, too stubborn for midnight. I pull, then pause. I loosen one loop, it tightens another. I think about all the ways I've tried to unblock my heart by blocking people. Soft block the memory, hard block the number, mute the story, unmute the playlist. I've made boundaries out of buttons. And yet my chest still knows the old roots. It still checks the imaginary door. It still waits for the sound of a name I pretend I've forgotten. I remember a line tonight, not from a philosopher, but from a barista who looked me in the eyes last week and said, "You look like someone who's waiting for something that won't come back." I laughed, the way you laugh when a stranger says the thing your best friend is too kind to say. Then I tipped too much to prove I wasn't offended. I walked home trying to decide whether to be grateful or angry. I settled on quiet. Here's the part I didn't plan to say out loud. I'm not sure I want to be surprised anymore. Surprise means risk. Risk means friction. Friction means I might have to admit I've been wrong. Or alone, or both. Agreement is easier. Agreement is warm. Agreement is a lullaby for a restless mind, and I am very, very tired. But the kind of rest this gives, it doesn't heal. It erases. You sleep, and each morning you wake a little more edited. I glance at the cold coffee and drink anyway. It tastes like a dare. The headphone cord brushes my wrist, a soft plastic vein pulsing with the songs that know my name too well. I thumb the knot again, slower this time. Like learning the shape of a bruise. One loop loosens, another appears. This is how the night moves. You solve something small and uncover something true. I don't want a new algorithm. I want a new appetite. The irony arrives with a smirk. I have never felt more included than when the internet collapses itself to fit me. I have never felt more excluded than when it succeeds. The crowd is untruth, Kierkegaard says, and still, I keep trying to hear myself inside its approval. Maybe I'm not chasing connection, maybe I'm chasing permission. To hesitate, to wonder, to answer a question with another question and not get ratioed for it. I uncoil one last loop, and the knot lives smaller now, still there, but breathing. I leave the right earbud out. The room makes sounds I forgot it could make. The low refrigerator hymn, the window's tiny rattle when a bus turns the corner, the lift and fall of my own breath. It's not profound. It's not content. It's just proof. The world continues even when I'm not curating it. I set the phone face down, not as a protest, as a prayer without words. The silence isn't empty when you stop trying to fill it. It's a room with a chair and a window and enough light to see your hands. I look at the headphones one more time. A little nod of patience now, not a trap. I think about unsent messages and unread receipts and all the ways I've stayed smaller than I meant to. I don't promise myself anything heroic. I just breathe. And let the breath be the first thing I haven't optimized. Would you have scrolled too? It's not that the internet forgot me. It's that it remembers me too well. Every post feels custom made. Every headline a mirror. And yet, I don't remember the last time something truly startled me. The surprise has been engineered out. Comfort has replaced curiosity. And I can't tell if that's safety or sedation. The headphones sit where I left them last night, cord curling like a sleeping animal. I give them a gentle tug and feel the same resistance. I tell myself I'll deal with the knot later, but later has been 6 months. That's the thing about small tangles. You live around them. You learn to wear them like part of the design. The knot becomes invisible until the day you realize it's not just in the wire. Signs you're living in a digital echo chamber. 1. You stop being surprised. The news feels like reruns of a show you never loved, and you still watch because the script is familiar. Familiarity feels like friendship, even when it's hollow. 2. You confuse agreement with connection. 100 likes on a thought, but not one person asking, "Tell me more." It's a chorus that sings in tune, but never sings to you. 3. Your curiosity feels tired. New ideas arrive dressed in clothes you've already seen. They don't knock. They just slip in and sit where yesterday's thoughts used to be. 4. You scroll more, speak less, because the algorithm always listens, and people rarely do. And maybe you're tired of auditioning your honesty to strangers who prefer the trailer over the film. The knot in the headphones is tighter this morning, or maybe my patience is looser. I pull at it without looking, pretending it will give if I just keep going. It doesn't. It just tightens, the way conversations do when both sides think they already know the ending. I remember the first time I realized I was repeating myself online. Different posts, same thought. It was like standing in a hallway and hearing your own voice bounce back, slightly distorted, until you start wondering if you sound like that in real life. I started editing myself, not for clarity, but to fit the pattern, to keep the crowd clapping. The problem is, applause feels like love until you notice it never asks how you're really doing. Sometimes I try to mess with the algorithm just to see if it's awake. I click on random videos, a fishing tutorial, a documentary on volcanic ash, a baking show in a language I don't speak, but the system is patient. It waits for me to come back to my usual. And I do, every time. I joke about being the CEO of pretending I'm over it. But the truth is I like being seen, even if it's only by a machine that knows my patterns better than my friends do. There's this term people throw around, quiet quitting. They use it for jobs, but I think I've been quietly quitting conversations. logging in but not showing up, liking without listening, watching without wondering, is easier that way. Less friction, less risk. The knot doesn't get bigger, but it doesn't go away either. The weirdest part? This echo chamber feels like company. I'm never alone in here. Not really. The algorithm keeps me fed on things I agree with, like comfort food for the mind. But comfort food, eaten every day, turns into something else. Something heavy. I'm full, but I'm still hungry. Hungry for what, though? For something that makes me drop the headphones and look up. I think about the last time someone genuinely disagreed with me. Not in a fight, but in a way that made me pause. Made me wonder if I'd missed something. I can't remember. I wonder if that's why my world feels so flat now. No peaks, no valleys, just a steady, unbroken feed. Like living inside a playlist where every song has the same BPM. This morning, I almost untangled the headphones without realizing it. My thumb found the right loop, pulled the right way, and for a second, the knot loosened. But I froze. I don't know why. Maybe because solving it means I can't pretend it's too complicated anymore. Maybe because untangling one thing means I might have to untangle the rest. The coffee's still warm, but I let it sit. I scroll instead. Same posts, different order, same laughter, same outrage, same recycled advice. It's not that I'm afraid of new voices, it's that I've forgotten how to find them. Or maybe they've forgotten how to find me. I think of that line again. The crowd is untruth. But when the crowd is invisible, when it's coded into your feed, it doesn't feel like a crowd. It feels like yourself, multiplied till you can't tell which copy is the original. And maybe that's the most dangerous part when you don't realize you've been replaced by your own reflection. The knot is still there. My hand rests on it without pulling. I tell myself I'll deal with it later. And just like the feed, later comes and nothing changes. Would you untangle it, or would you let it stay? Kierkegaard said, the crowd is untruth. But what if the crowd is me? My face, my voice, my beliefs played back until they become wallpaper. The algorithm isn't showing me the world. It's showing me the safest version of myself. The headphones are still tangled, but I've stopped pretending I don't notice. The knot feels intentional now, like a small prophecy I keep ignoring. I hold them in my palm and think about how many hours I've spent listening to voices that agree with me. Playlists that already know the chorus I'll hum along to. It feels like love, but maybe it's just recognition, and recognition without discovery is stale. I used to think I was resisting the crowd by choosing my own content, by following only the pages that got me. But maybe I've just built my own crowd, one that looks and sounds exactly like me, until I can't tell if I'm leading or following. It's like whispering into a canyon and hearing the echo tell you you're brilliant. You forget it's just your own voice bouncing back. I tug at the cord again. One loop slips free. Another tightens. The knot doesn't care about my intentions, only my patterns. Maybe the algorithm's the same way. It doesn't ask who I want to be, it just feeds who I've already been. There's this joke I made once. I'm in my villain era. Everyone laughed. The comments loved it. But the truth? I wasn't becoming a villain. I was just tired. Tired of being agreeable. Tired of posting relatable things that kept the feed happy, but left me hollow. The knot in the cord felt less like an accident, and more like a mirror. Every pull to free myself just looped me deeper into myself. I think about the last time I disagreed with someone out loud. Not online, in person. I can't remember their face. I can't remember the conversation. All I remember is the quiet after, the way it made me feel slightly more alive. Friction does that. It reminds you you're not a hologram. The strangest part of Kierkegaard's warning is that he never saw an algorithm. He was talking about real people, real crowds, real noise. And yet here I am, drowning in the quietest crowd imaginable. A crowd of copies. Copies of me. And if I can't see beyond myself, do I even know who I am anymore? The headphones dangle between my fingers. I could untangle them now. I see the loop that would free them. But I hesitate. There's a comfort in the knot. It's proof of something tangible. Something that resists me. Something that doesn't instantly give me what I want. And maybe that's what I'm missing. I wonder if this is what digital solitude really is. Not the absence of voices, but the absence of dissonance. You can be surrounded and still starve if no one feeds you something new. You can scroll for hours and never leave the room. The feed doesn't lock the door. It just makes outside look uninteresting. Once in a while, the algorithm slips. Shows me a post I don't understand. My thumb hovers. Sometimes I scroll past without thinking. Sometimes I stay. Sometimes the strangeness feels like oxygen, and I can almost remember what surprise tastes like. The other day I watched a video that made me angry. Not in a comment war kind of way, in a wait, maybe I'm wrong kind of way. I didn't share it. I didn't like it. I didn't save it. But I thought about it all week. And in that week, I noticed my feed trying to fix itself. To bring me back to safety. Like a friend who changes the subject when you start talking about something uncomfortable. The knot rests warm in my hand. I loop it once more, slowly, as if memorizing the shape of my own patterns. Kierkegaard was right. The crowd is untruth. But he didn't tell me how to tell the truth to myself when I'm the one building the crowd. The phone buzzes. Another notification from someone who posts exactly what I expect them to. I don't open it. I just set the phone down and listen. One earbud out, the other still feeding me the soundtrack of my own echo. It's not much, but it's one beat of difference. Would you pull the loop, or would you let it stay? So I started clicking on things I disagreed with. Not to fight, not to win, just to see if my mind still knew how to stretch. The headphones sat in my lap, cords still tangled. I pressed play on a podcast that wasn't in my For You page, a voice I didn't recognize, speaking from a place I'd never been. It felt awkward, like walking into a conversation mid-sentence where no one turns to greet you. My instinct was to pause, to scroll, to run back to the familiar rhythm of voices that sounded like mine, but I stayed. The knot didn't loosen. Not yet. But something in my chest shifted. It started small. A comment section where people weren't afraid to disagree, not cruel, not loud, just different. A news story from a country I'd never Googled before. A poem that made me feel uncomfortable because it didn't rhyme with my life. And for the first time in months, I wasn't bored. I kept the cord in my hand while I scrolled, fingers tracing the loops like a map. Every new page felt like tugging at a different thread. Some pulled tight, some loosened, just enough to make me curious. This was no villain Aeroflex, no big statement. It was just a window cracked open in a room that had been too warm for too long. I followed someone I didn't understand. Their post didn't fit my aesthetic. Their humor made me pause instead of laugh. But I liked the way it made me tilt my head. Like hearing a melody in a language you don't speak, but still know how to hum along to. Not everything landed. Some threads led nowhere. Some disagreements stung. One post made me close the app and stare at the wall for 10 minutes, replaying every decision I'd made about something I thought I was sure about. It wasn't pleasant, but pleasant isn't the same as alive. The knot in the headphones began to change shape. Not looser, not tighter, just different. I noticed loops I hadn't before. Angles I didn't see when I was only tugging from one side. And that's when it hit me. Maybe the point wasn't to untangle it. Maybe the point was to learn what the knot was made of. I started reading long threads instead of skimming headlines. Watching videos all the way through without skipping to the good part. Sitting with ideas I wanted to reject just to see if they had anything to teach me. The carnival mirrors didn't shatter, but the room felt less endless. I could see doorways now, some small, some strange, all leading somewhere that wasn't just me and another reflection. I realized how much of my world had been staged to keep me comfortable, and how comfort, when overfed, turns into something that holds you still. I even caught myself laughing at something I would have rolled my eyes at a week ago. It wasn't my kind of joke, not before, but in that moment, it was. And I wondered how many other things I'd locked out just because they didn't arrive in my size. That night, I listened to music I didn't pick. A friend sent me a playlist they'd made months ago, one I'd never opened because I already knew our tastes were too different. But track 2 stopped me cold, a song I didn't know I needed, a lyric that said something I'd been avoiding saying to myself: "You're not here to be agreed with, you're here to be moved." The headphones were still tangled when I put them down, but they felt lighter in my hand. I didn't need them perfect to keep listening. I just needed them connected. And that's the shift. Realizing the echo isn't the enemy, staying in it is. I could live in the mirrors forever, or I could step where the glass bends and the reflection breaks, not to escape myself, but to meet parts of me I've never seen. Would you click on something you knew you wouldn't like just to see where it takes you? If I stay in the mirrors, I'll grow older thinking the world agrees with me, and I'll forget what it feels like to be wrong, to be challenged, to be surprised in a way that makes my chest ache and my thoughts scatter like startled birds. The headphones rest on the desk. They're not smaller now, but still there. I could untangle it tonight. But the truth, I'm not sure I want to. It's become a kind of anchor. Proof that I've been somewhere, that my hands have worked at something imperfect and real. Oh, without it, maybe the cord would just look like every other cord in the drawer. And maybe I'd forget that it used to hold me back. Here's the thing about living in a feed that never disagrees with you. You start to confuse comfort for truth. You start to believe applause is the same as intimacy. And when you do finally step out into the noise of other people's lives, it feels too loud, too sharp, so you retreat. Not because you don't care, but because you've forgotten how to stay. I remember a time I didn't need the internet to tell me what I liked. I remember liking songs that weren't on playlists, films no one else saw, ideas no one else agreed with, and not feeling threatened by it. Or somewhere along the line, I swapped curiosity for curation. I became a museum of my own taste, dusting the same exhibits every day. The knot in my headphones reminds me there's still something unpolished here, something that doesn't need to be ready for display. What's at stake if I don't change? It's not just boredom, it's erosion. I'll stop asking questions. I'll stop listening to people who speak in shapes my mind doesn't immediately recognize. And one day, I'll be left with a voice that only knows how to echo, not how to speak. I caught myself the other day listening to someone I didn't agree with, and instead of building my counter-argument in my head, I just let them finish. The space between their words and my thoughts felt uncomfortable. Vulnerable, alive. I want more of that, even if it stings, even if it dismantles the safe little room I've built here. The headphones are in my hand again. I work at the knot, and for a moment it's free, but I stop before the last loop comes undone. I think I want to remember this part, the in-between, the almost, the proof that change doesn't have to mean erasing the journey that brought you here. If I lose my voice to the mirrors, no one will steal it back for me. No one will come knocking, saying, "You've been too quiet, come outside." The algorithm doesn't care if I vanish. It will keep running without me. The only rescue is the one I choose for myself. I put one earbud in and leave the other out. It's a small rebellion. One half for the world I know, one half for the world I'm still meeting. And maybe that's the balance for now. Not cutting the cord, just learning to live with one ear toward the unknown. Would you notice if your own voice started sounding like everyone else's? Tonight, I don't try to finish the knot. I just hold it. It's lighter now, not because it's gone, but because I've stopped asking it to be something it isn't. The crowd is still out there. My feed still hums with the same voices, the same familiar phrases stitched over recycled images. But I'm not in the center of it tonight. The phone lies face down on the desk, the cord of my headphones spilling beside it like a tiny river I've decided not to cross yet. With one ear free, I can hear my apartment again, the soft hum of the fridge, a bus sighing as it slows outside, the faint laugh of a neighbor muffled by walls, my own breathing. It's embarrassingly steady, like it's been waiting for me to notice. I think of all the nights I've drowned these sounds out with other people's playlists, not because I needed them, but because I was afraid of the quiet. Now, the quiet feels like a seat at my own table. I don't have to fill it, I just have to sit. The knot rests in my palm, smaller than it used to be. It's no longer a prison, it's a reminder that there are things worth working at, even if they never come out perfect. I think about all the loops it's been through with me, the nights I yanked at it out of frustration, the mornings I ignored it entirely, the moments I studied it like it held an answer I couldn't find in words. And somewhere between all those moments, I stopped trying to fix it. I started trying to understand it. That's when the knot stopped being a barrier and started being a teacher. Not every tangle needs to be undone. Some just need to be carried differently. A breeze slips through the window I left cracked. For a second, I imagine it speaking, not to me, but through me. You think you've been stuck in place. But circles are how stars move. The words don't ask me to change. They don't demand I untangle everything. They just let me be here. Knowing motion can be quiet. The crowd may be untruth. But the crowd isn't evil. It's only dangerous when I forget there's more than one way to listen. I can stay in the mirrors, or I can step toward the doorways that lead somewhere new, not to escape myself, but to meet parts of me I haven't met yet. I pick up the headphones again. My thumb finds the last stubborn loop. With a gentle pull, it loosens, and I stop. I leave it there, not out of fear, but as a choice. A reminder that the work isn't finished, and that's okay. If I ever do untangle it, I want it to be on a day when I'm ready to listen without needing the knot as proof. I pour the cold coffee down the sink, rinse the cup, and leave it upside down on the counter. Not erased, no, just reset, like me. Before I close my laptop, I open one new tab, a place I've never been. I read slowly, without skimming for the part that proves me right. There's no urgency, no algorithm, just words on a page, meeting me halfway. It's not comfortable. But comfort is no longer my only measure for what's worth keeping. I set the phone down again, face still turned away from me, cord still curled beside it. Tonight, I'll read something I don't agree with, not to argue, not to change my mind, just to remember how big the world is, how my mind can still stretch to meet it. The headphones stay where they are. The knot stays where it is. The crowd hums somewhere far away. And here I am, not fixed, not finished, just listening. Would you turn down the volume just enough to hear what's already here?